Welcome to Unsolved Historical Mysteries. Why do geniuses mysteriously vanish? History's greatest unsolved disappearances. Chapter 1. Introduction: The Mysterious Fate of Geniuses. Section 1. The Strange Pattern of Genius Disappearances. Throughout history, some of the brightest minds have mysteriously vanished, without a trace. These individuals, writers, inventors, scientists, and mathematicians, were not just brilliant in their fields. They were often ahead of their time. Their sudden disappearances have left behind a trail of unanswered questions. Were they victims of conspiracies? Did they choose to disappear to escape the pressures of society? Or is there something more sinister at play? One of the strangest aspects of these disappearances is how frequently they occur among intellectual pioneers. Unlike typical missing person cases, these individuals were often at the peak of their careers, making groundbreaking discoveries or challenging powerful institutions. Could their intelligence have put them in danger? Did they know something they weren't supposed to? These questions have intrigued researchers and conspiracy theorists for decades. Take, for instance, the case of Ambrose Bierce, a famous American writer and journalist. He was known for his sharp wit and critical stance on politics and society. In 1913, he ventured into Mexico and was never seen again. His last known letters were cryptic, almost as if he knew he was heading toward an inevitable fate. Some believe he was executed, while others suspect he staged his disappearance deliberately. Then there's Louis Le Prince, the true inventor of motion pictures. Decades before Hollywood became an industry, Le Prince developed the first ever moving pictures. However, just as he was about to demonstrate his invention to the world, he mysteriously vanished from a train in 1890. To this day, no trace of him has been found. Many suspect that he was silenced by powerful competitors, including Thomas Edison, who later took credit for similar inventions. But not all cases involve outright disappearances. Grigori Perelman, one of the greatest mathematicians of modern times, solved a problem that had stumped experts for over a century: the Poincaré conjecture. His solution should have made him one of the most celebrated figures in the scientific world. Instead, he refused fame, rejected a $1 million prize, and retreated from public life. Today, very few people know his whereabouts, and his disappearance remains a mystery. So why do some of history's greatest minds vanish? Is it a coincidence, or is there a hidden pattern? Some theorists suggest that these individuals might have uncovered something too dangerous for the world to know. Others believe they simply wanted to escape the overwhelming expectations placed upon them. In this video, we will explore several cases of genius-level disappearances, each with its own set of eerie details and unanswered questions. The more we investigate, the more we realize that history is full of stories that defy explanation. Section 2. Common theories behind their disappearances. When brilliant minds disappear, speculation runs wild. Were they kidnapped, murdered, or did they vanish willingly? While each case is unique, certain patterns emerge. Over the years, historians and theorists have proposed several explanations for why some of history's greatest geniuses disappeared without a trace. One of the most common theories is political assassination. Many intellectuals, especially those who challenged authority, found themselves in dangerous positions. Figures like Ambrose Bierce, known for his sharp political critiques, might have been targeted for elimination. Governments, secret agencies, or even rival factions may have seen these individuals as threats to their power. Another theory is scientific suppression. What if some of these geniuses discovered something too powerful or controversial? Nikola Tesla, for example, claimed to have developed a wireless energy transmission system that could provide free electricity to the world. Yet, after his death, many of his documents mysteriously vanished. Did someone ensure his discoveries were buried? Louis Le Prince, the father of motion pictures, disappeared just before demonstrating his groundbreaking invention. Could competitors, like Thomas Edison, have had a hand in his vanishing? Then there's the idea of self-imposed exile. Some geniuses may have simply walked away from society. The pressure of fame, the burden of expectations, or even personal struggles might have driven them to disappear voluntarily. Grigori Perelman, after solving one of the most complex mathematical problems in history, rejected wealth and fame, choosing isolation instead. Could other vanished geniuses have made a similar decision? A more extreme theory suggests secret recruitment. Some believe that highly intelligent individuals are sometimes taken by governments, secret societies, or even extraterrestrial forces. While this might sound like science fiction, history has many cases of brilliant minds who were suddenly relocated, coerced, or persuaded into secrecy. During World War II, for instance, many scientists vanished from public view, only to later be discovered working on classified military projects. Lastly, some believe in time travel and parallel dimensions. While there's no concrete evidence, theorists argue that individuals with advanced knowledge might have stumbled upon ways to transcend time or move between dimensions. Could some of history's missing geniuses have accessed knowledge beyond our current understanding and left this reality altogether? Each of these theories has its supporters and skeptics. Some cases seem to fit one explanation better than others, but in the end, the truth remains elusive. In the next chapters, we will examine real cases of genius disappearances and see which of these theories might hold the most weight. Section 3. A look at history's most puzzling cases. Throughout history, the disappearances of brilliant individuals have left behind more questions than answers. Some cases seem like accidents, while others hint at something more mysterious. Before diving into specific stories, let's take a brief look at some of the most perplexing cases that still haunt historians today. One of the most famous disappearances is Ambrose Bierce, a renowned writer and journalist. In 1913, he traveled to Mexico, supposedly to witness the Mexican Revolution firsthand. He wrote several letters along the way, but after crossing the border, he was never heard from again. His fate remains unknown, with theories ranging from execution by revolutionaries to a carefully planned vanishing act. Then there's Louis Le Prince, the forgotten pioneer of motion pictures. In 1890, he boarded a train in France and simply vanished. No body, no luggage, no evidence. Just gone. His disappearance was so baffling that some suspect he was silenced by rivals like Thomas Edison, who later took credit for similar inventions. Another baffling case is Grigori Perelman, a Russian mathematician who solved the Poincaré conjecture, a problem that had puzzled experts for over a century. He won one of the highest honors in mathematics, but refused it. Then, he vanished from public life, leaving behind only rumors about his whereabouts. Unlike others, we know he is alive, but his rejection of the world remains a mystery. One of the more chilling disappearances is that of Michael Rockefeller, heir to the famous Rockefeller family. In 1961, while exploring remote regions of Papua New Guinea, his boat capsized. He attempted to swim to shore and was never seen again. Some believe he drowned, while others claim he was killed by indigenous tribes. But what if he chose to stay? Some reports suggest he might have assimilated into the local culture, never wanting to return. And of course, there's Nikola Tesla, whose final days remain clouded in secrecy. While he didn't disappear physically, his research did. After his death, government agents seized many of his documents. What was in those files? Could his work have threatened powerful industries? Each of these cases presents a unique puzzle. Were these men victims of foul play? Did they disappear by choice? Or was something else at work? As we move forward, we'll analyze each case in detail and explore the most compelling theories. Chapter 2. The Case of Ambrose Bierce, the writer who walked into oblivion. Section 1. Who was Ambrose Bierce? Ambrose Bierce was no ordinary writer. Born in 1842, he became one of America's most brilliant, yet enigmatic literary figures, known for his sharp wit, dark humor, and brutally honest social critiques. He was a man who challenged authority and questioned the world around him. His works, such as The Devil's Dictionary and An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, reflected his fascination with death, mystery, and the unknown, perhaps foreshadowing his own fate. Before he became a famous writer, Bierce fought in the American Civil War, an experience that deeply shaped his worldview. He witnessed brutal battles, near-death experiences, and the horrors of war firsthand. These events hardened him, giving him a cynical perspective on life, politics, and human nature. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Bierce didn't shy away from controversial topics. His fearless criticism of corruption and hypocrisy earned him both admiration and enemies. Throughout his career, Bierce worked as a journalist, using his platform to expose scandals and challenge powerful figures. His words carried weight, and he had no hesitation in calling out injustice. But as he grew older, he became increasingly disillusioned with the world. In 1913, at the age of 71, he made a shocking decision. He was going to travel to Mexico, a country engulfed in revolution. His reason? He wanted to witness the war firsthand, and perhaps find a cause worth fighting for one last time. His departure was as cryptic as his writing. Before leaving, he sent a chilling letter to a friend, saying, "As to me, I leave here tomorrow for an unknown destination." It was as if he had already accepted his fate. He crossed into Mexico and sent a few more letters, the last one dated December 26, 1913. After that, he was never heard from again. What happened to Ambrose Bierce? Did he die in battle? Was he executed by revolutionaries? Or did he stage his own disappearance, leaving behind a final unsolved mystery? In the next section, we'll explore his last known journey into Mexico and the strange clues he left behind. Section 2. His final journey to Mexico. In October 1913, Ambrose Bierce set off on a journey that would become one of history's most famous unsolved disappearances. By this time, he was 71 years old, disillusioned with the world, and seemingly unafraid of death. He had always been fascinated by war, having served as a soldier during the American Civil War, and it seemed he wanted to witness one last great conflict before the end of his life. His destination, Mexico, a country engulfed in revolution. At the time, Pancho Villa and his revolutionary forces were engaged in a brutal struggle against the Mexican government. Bierce traveled through Texas, crossing the border into Mexico, where he joined Villa's army as an observer. He wrote several letters along the way, some of which contained cryptic remarks. In one of his final messages, he wrote, "If you hear of my being stood up against a Mexican stone wall and shot to rags, please know that I think it a pretty good way to depart this life." For a while, he was reportedly seen traveling with Villa's troops, possibly witnessing battles firsthand. Some claim he was present during the Battle of Tierra Blanca in November 1913, a major victory for the revolutionaries. However, as he moved deeper into war-torn Mexico, his communications became less frequent. The last confirmed letter from Bierce was dated December 26, 1913, from the city of Chihuahua. In it, he mentioned his plans to move further south. After that, he vanished without a trace. What happened next remains one of history's great mysteries. Some believe he was executed by revolutionaries, either because he was mistaken for a spy or because he angered the wrong people. Others suggest he was caught in a skirmish and killed, his body left unrecorded among the many casualties of war. Another theory suggests he staged his own disappearance, retreating into obscurity as a final act of defiance. Despite multiple investigations over the years, no solid evidence of his fate has ever been found. There were rumors that he was seen in Ojinaga, a border town, in early 1914, but nothing was confirmed. Some even believe he lived out his final days under an assumed identity, escaping the world he had grown to despise. In the next section, we'll examine the most prominent theories surrounding Bierce's fate, and whether any of them could hold the key to solving this century-old mystery. Section 3. What might have happened to him? Ambrose Bierce's disappearance has puzzled historians, writers, and conspiracy theorists for over a century, since there was no confirmed sighting after his last letter in December 1913. Numerous theories have emerged about his fate. Some seem plausible, while others verge on the fantastic. Let's explore the most well-known possibilities. The most widely accepted theory is that Bierce was executed by revolutionaries. The Mexican Revolution was chaotic, and outsiders were often viewed with suspicion. If Bierce was mistaken for a foreign spy or an enemy of Pancho Villa's forces, he might have been captured and shot. Some local legends claim that an elderly American was executed in Chihuahua or Ojinaga, fitting Bierce's description. However, no records or remains have been found to confirm this. Another possibility is that he died in battle. Bierce had always been drawn to war, and it's possible he got too close to the action. Some reports suggest he was seen at the Battle of Ojinaga in January 1914, one of the bloodiest battles of the Revolution. If he perished there, his body might have been lost among the countless casualties, never to be identified. A more mysterious theory is that he faked his own death. Bierce was known for his cynical worldview and disillusionment with society. Could he have staged his disappearance to escape fame and live out his last years in solitude? Some speculate he assumed a new identity and spent the rest of his life in an unknown location. However, no credible evidence supports this idea. There are also theories involving secret societies and government conspiracies. Some believe Bierce had uncovered sensitive political information or was involved in espionage, leading to his elimination by powerful forces. While intriguing, there's little historical proof to back up this claim. Finally, some more far-fetched theories suggest he disappeared into the supernatural, a fate fitting for a man who wrote so much about death and the unknown. Some enthusiasts propose that he was taken by some unexplained force, leaving no trace behind. Of course, this is more legend than fact, but it highlights how deeply his disappearance has captured the imagination of people worldwide. In the end, the truth behind Ambrose Bierce's fate remains elusive. His disappearance, much like his writings, continues to inspire speculation and intrigue. But one thing is certain: his legacy, as a brilliant and mysterious literary figure, will never fade. Chapter 3: Louis Le Prince, the man who invented the motion picture and vanished. Section 1: Forgotten pioneer of film. When we talk about the invention of cinema, names like Thomas Edison and the Lumiere brothers are often credited. However, there was another man who might have truly been the first to create motion pictures: Louis Le Prince. Decades before Hollywood's golden age, Le Prince developed a working motion picture camera and successfully filmed the world's first known moving images. Yet, instead of being celebrated, his story has been largely forgotten. Why? Because just as he was about to demonstrate his invention to the world, he mysteriously vanished without a trace. Born in 1841 in France, Le Prince was a gifted engineer with a passion for optics and chemistry. He studied at prestigious institutions and later moved to England, where he worked on innovative photography techniques. Eventually, his fascination with capturing movement led him to build a camera capable of recording real motion, a feat no one had achieved before. In 1888, he shot Roundhay Garden Scene, which is now considered the oldest surviving motion picture. Unlike Thomas Edison's later devices, Le Prince's invention did not require a separate viewing machine, making it a revolutionary breakthrough. By 1890, Le Prince was ready to claim his rightful place in history. He planned to travel to the United States to demonstrate his camera, secure patents, and establish himself as the true pioneer of motion pictures. If successful, he would have overshadowed Edison and others who were working on similar technology. But fate had other plans. In September 1890, while visiting family in France, Le Prince boarded a train from Dijon to Paris. It should have been a routine trip, but he was never seen again. No passengers reported anything unusual. No body was found, and no belongings were recovered. He had seemingly disappeared into thin air. His family, shocked and desperate for answers, launched extensive searches. But they found nothing. Then, something even more suspicious happened. Just a few years later, Thomas Edison patented his motion picture technology, claiming to be the sole inventor of cinema. This has led many to speculate: was Le Prince silenced to eliminate competition? Did someone want to erase his contributions from history? Or was there another explanation for his vanishing? In the next section, we'll take a closer look at the final journey of Louis Le Prince and explore the eerie circumstances surrounding his disappearance. Section 2: The train ride that led to nowhere. On September 16, 1890, Louis Le Prince boarded a train in Dijon, France, heading to Paris. It was supposed to be a short and routine trip, part of his journey to the United States, where he planned to publicly showcase his revolutionary motion picture camera. But somewhere along the way, he vanished without a trace. Le Prince had been staying at his brother's house in Dijon before departing. According to witnesses, he was in good spirits and excited about his upcoming demonstration in America. He boarded the train as planned, carrying his luggage and important documents related to his invention. But when the train arrived in Paris, he was nowhere to be found. His belongings were missing, and there were no reports of anything suspicious happening during the journey. It was as if he had disappeared into thin air. The authorities launched an investigation, but there were no clear leads. No passengers recalled seeing anything unusual. and no body was found along the railway tracks. If Le Prince had fallen from the train, his remains or possessions should have been discovered, but nothing ever was. His family and friends searched tirelessly, but no trace of him ever surfaced. Several theories have been proposed over the years. One possibility is suicide, though this seems unlikely. Le Prince was on the verge of a major breakthrough in the film industry, and there was no known indication that he was depressed or had any reason to end his life. Furthermore, had he jumped from the train, some evidence, his body or personal belongings, should have been found. Another theory is that he was murdered. Some suspect that rivals, possibly connected to Thomas Edison, orchestrated his disappearance to eliminate competition. At the time, Edison was involved in a legal battle over motion picture patents, and Le Prince's invention could have undermined Edison's claim to be the true pioneer of film. Could industrial espionage have played a role in his vanishing? There's also speculation that Le Prince was kidnapped. If someone wanted to steal his ideas or prevent him from presenting his work, they might have abducted him before he could make it to the US. But if this were the case, why was there no ransom demand? And why was his disappearance so complete? Finally, some believe his own family may have been involved. In 1897, Le Prince's son, Adolphe, testified in a legal case against Thomas Edison, trying to prove that his father was the true inventor of motion pictures. Some researchers have speculated that internal family conflicts or hidden motives may have played a role in his fate, though no solid evidence supports this theory. In the next section, we'll explore the most compelling theories about what might have happened to Louis Le Prince, and whether his disappearance was truly an accident or something far more sinister. Section 3. Was he silenced by Thomas Edison? One of the most persistent and controversial theories about Louis Le Prince's disappearance is that he was eliminated by Thomas Edison. At first glance, this might seem like a far-fetched conspiracy, but the circumstances surrounding Le Prince's vanishing and Edison's later legal battles make this theory hard to ignore. By the late 1880s, Le Prince had already filmed moving images using his innovative single-lens camera. This was years before Edison's famous kinetoscope and the Lumiere brothers' cinematograph. Le Prince was on the verge of securing patents in America, which would have legally established him as the true inventor of motion pictures. If his technology had been publicly demonstrated, Edison's claim to the invention of cinema would have been seriously threatened. But before Le Prince could present his work, he vanished. Just 2 years later, in 1892, Edison introduced his own motion picture system, taking full credit for the invention. His company aggressively pursued legal dominance over the film industry, crushing competitors through lawsuits. This culminated in a famous court battle in 1898, where Edison fought to secure the title of the father of motion pictures. During this trial, Le Prince's son, Adolphe, testified that his father had created motion pictures before Edison. However, without his father present, Adolphe had little evidence to back his claims. Edison won the case, securing his place in history as the inventor of cinema. Could Edison have had something to do with Le Prince's disappearance? Some historians believe it's possible. Edison was known for his ruthless business tactics, often using legal and financial pressure to eliminate competition. Would he have gone as far as ordering an assassination? While there's no direct evidence linking Edison to Le Prince's fate, the timing is highly suspicious. Another factor is the disappearance of Le Prince's patents. While his family insisted he was the true inventor of motion pictures, Many of his documents and film reels mysteriously vanished after his disappearance. Without this evidence, Edison's claim remained unchallenged. Skeptics argue that Edison was a businessman, not a murderer. They point out that no solid proof connects him to Le Prince's vanishing, and that Le Prince's disappearance may have simply been a tragic accident or personal choice. However, the fact remains that Le Prince's absence directly benefited Edison, allowing him to dominate the film industry unopposed. Whether Edison was involved or not, Le Prince's story remains one of history's great injustices. He was a visionary who might have changed cinema forever, if only he had lived to tell his story. In the next chapter, we'll explore another mysterious case: the disappearance of a modern-day genius, the brilliant yet elusive mathematician Grigori Perelman. Chapter 4: The Genius Mathematician Who Disappeared, Grigori Perelman. Section 1: Solving the Impossible, the Poincaré Conjecture. Mathematics is full of unsolved problems, some of which have remained mysteries for centuries. Among them, the Poincaré conjecture was considered one of the most difficult. It was first proposed by the French mathematician Henri Poincaré in 1904. And for nearly a century, no one could prove it. That is, until a reclusive Russian mathematician named Grigori Perelman shocked the world by solving it in the early 2000s. But instead of basking in fame and fortune, Perelman vanished from the public eye, rejecting prestigious awards and refusing interviews. Why did he disappear? To understand the significance of Perelman's achievement, we need to look at the Poincaré conjecture itself. It deals with topology, a branch of mathematics that studies the properties of shapes and spaces that remain unchanged under continuous transformations. In simple terms, the conjecture states that any three-dimensional space without holes can be continuously deformed into a sphere. While this may sound abstract, its proof had deep implications for understanding the shape of the universe. For decades, some of the greatest mathematical minds attempted to prove or disprove it, and all failed. That's why the Clay Mathematics Institute included it as one of their Millennium Prize problems, offering a $1 million reward for anyone who could solve it. Then came Grigori Perelman, a quiet yet brilliant mathematician from St. Petersburg, Russia. In the 1990s, he had already gained a reputation for his deep insights into geometry and topology. But in 2002 and 2003, he did something extraordinary. He published a series of papers online that contained what appeared to be the first ever proof of the Poincaré conjecture. At first, the mathematical community was skeptical. Could a single person have cracked a problem that had defeated generations of experts? Over the next few years, mathematicians around the world examined his work, and by 2006, it was confirmed Perelman had indeed solved the Poincaré conjecture. His proof was so elegant and revolutionary that it earned him the Fields Medal, the highest honor in mathematics. But Perelman did something no one expected. He refused the award. Not only that, but he rejected the $1 million Millennium Prize, saying that he was not interested in money or fame. Shortly after, he quit mathematics entirely, resigned from his research position, and disappeared from public life. Why would someone who had achieved such an extraordinary feat walk away from everything? Was he simply uninterested in recognition? Or was there something deeper at play? In the next section, we'll explore why Perelman rejected fame and fortune, and what led him to abandon mathematics altogether. Section 2: Rejecting Fame and Fortune. In 2006, Grigori Perelman was officially recognized for solving the Poincaré conjecture, one of the greatest mathematical mysteries of all time. The Fields Medal, often called the Nobel Prize of Mathematics, was awarded to him for his groundbreaking proof. Then, in 2010, the Clay Mathematics Institute offered him the $1 million Millennium Prize. It seemed like Perelman had secured his place among the greatest mathematicians in history. But instead of accepting these honors, he rejected them all. His refusal of the Fields Medal was unprecedented. When representatives from the International Mathematical Union traveled to his home in St. Petersburg to personally offer him the award, he refused to even meet them. Later, in an interview, he said, "I am not interested in money or fame. I do not want to be displayed like an animal in a zoo." Then came the even more shocking decision, turning down the $1 million prize. When asked why, Perelman cryptically stated that he was unhappy with the way the mathematical community functioned. He accused some mathematicians of taking credit for his work, and felt that the field was corrupted by politics and favoritism. He also criticized the process of awarding prizes, suggesting that true mathematics should not be motivated by money or recognition. After rejecting the award, he quit mathematics entirely. He resigned from his research position and withdrew from academia. Over the years, journalists and researchers tried to track him down, but he avoided the public eye. He was last reported to be living in a small apartment with his mother in St. Petersburg, leading an extremely modest life. He reportedly survives on his mother's pension and spends his days walking through the city, completely disconnected from the world of mathematics. Many have speculated about his reasons for leaving. Some believe that he was simply too idealistic, refusing to participate in a system he saw as flawed. Others think he was deeply disillusioned after seeing the way his work was received. There are even theories that he feared the consequences of his discoveries, though there is no evidence to support this. Regardless of the reason, Perelman's rejection of fame and fortune remains one of the most intriguing mysteries in modern intellectual history. How could someone at the peak of mathematical success choose to disappear? And has he truly abandoned mathematics? Or is he still working on problems in secrecy? In the next section, we will explore the final question. Where is Grigori Perelman today, and what is he doing? Section 3. Where is he now? After rejecting both the Fields Medal and the $1 million Millennium Prize, Grigori Perelman completely withdrew from public life. He resigned from his research position, cut ties with the mathematical community, and seemed to disappear. But where is he now, and what has he been doing since? Reports indicate that Perelman still lives in a modest apartment in St. Petersburg, Russia, sharing the space with his elderly mother. Unlike other brilliant mathematicians who go on to teach or mentor students, he has chosen total isolation. He has no job, no known income, and relies on his mother's pension to sustain himself. Despite his fame in the academic world, he avoids all forms of public recognition. Over the years, a few journalists have managed to track him down. When asked about his life choices, he remains cryptic. One of his most famous responses to an interviewer was, "I have all I want." This statement has only deepened the mystery surrounding him. Why would a man who achieved what so many mathematicians dream of, solving an impossible problem, reject the rewards and retreat from society? Some believe that Perelman still works on mathematics in private. He has been seen visiting local libraries and occasionally browsing through mathematical journals. His deep understanding of geometry and topology suggests that he may still be exploring new mathematical frontiers, perhaps even working on another unsolved problem. However, he has published nothing since his proof of the Poincaré conjecture, leading others to speculate that he may have abandoned mathematics entirely. Another theory is that he was deeply disillusioned by the academic world. Perelman has criticized the way mathematics is conducted, accusing certain scholars of taking credit for work they didn't fully understand. He might have felt that the field had become corrupted by politics and self-interest, leading him to walk away in protest. There are also more mysterious speculations. Some believe that Perelman has been secretly recruited by a government agency or private research institution. The idea that a mind as brilliant as his would simply disappear seems unlikely to some theorists, given that advanced mathematics plays a crucial role in cutting-edge fields like cryptography, quantum physics, and artificial intelligence. It is not entirely impossible that someone would seek his expertise for classified projects. However, no solid evidence supports this claim. Finally, there is the simplest, yet most baffling possibility: Perelman may have truly left mathematics behind. Perhaps he solved the problem that mattered most to him, and saw no reason to continue. If so, he remains a unique figure in history. A man who reached the peak of intellectual achievement, only to walk away without a second thought. Whether he is still solving mathematical mysteries or has chosen a quiet, ordinary life, one thing is certain: Grigori Perelman's disappearance from the public eye remains one of the most fascinating intellectual mysteries of our time. In the next chapter, we'll move from mathematics to science and technology, exploring the mysterious final days of Nikola Tesla and the disappearance of his groundbreaking research. Chapter 5: Nikola Tesla's Mysterious Final Days. Section 1: Tesla's Brilliant but Lonely Life. Nikola Tesla is often regarded as one of history's greatest inventors, a man whose ideas shaped the modern world. From alternating current AC to wireless energy transmission, Tesla's innovations laid the foundation for many technologies we use today. Yet, despite his genius, his later years were marked by isolation, financial ruin, and secrecy. How did a man once celebrated as a revolutionary thinker become a forgotten figure living in obscurity? Born in 1856 in what is now Croatia, Tesla displayed an extraordinary intellect from an early age. He studied engineering and physics before moving to the United States in 1884, where he briefly worked with Thomas Edison. However, a major disagreement over electrical systems led to a bitter rivalry between the two men. While Edison promoted direct current DC, Tesla championed alternating current AC, which proved to be the superior system for powering cities. With the backing of George Westinghouse, Tesla's AC system eventually triumphed over Edison's DC. But despite this victory, Tesla struggled financially. Unlike Edison, who aggressively patented and marketed his inventions, Tesla was more interested in pushing the boundaries of science than making money. He believed that electricity should be free for everyone, an idea that clashed with the interests of powerful industrialists. One of his most ambitious projects was the Wardenclyffe Tower, a massive structure designed to transmit electricity wirelessly across long distances. Tesla envisioned a world where energy could be broadcast through the air, eliminating the need for power lines. However, his financial backers, including J.P. Morgan, withdrew support when they realized they couldn't profit from Tesla's vision. The project was abandoned, and Tesla fell into financial despair. As he aged, Tesla became increasingly reclusive. He lived alone in a small hotel room in New York, spending his days feeding pigeons and making cryptic statements about his work. He claimed to have developed a death ray, a weapon capable of unimaginable destruction, but never provided concrete evidence of its existence. Some believe he may have been deliberately keeping certain discoveries hidden. By the time of his death in 1943, Tesla was nearly forgotten, dying alone with little more than a few possessions to his name. However, his story didn't end there. After his death, something highly suspicious happened. His research papers mysteriously disappeared. In the next section, we'll explore the missing documents, the FBI's involvement, and the shocking theories about what Tesla may have truly discovered. Section 2. The Missing Documents. On January 7, 1943, Nikola Tesla was found dead in his hotel room at the New Yorker Hotel. He had been living in poverty for years, and his passing initially seemed like the quiet end of a forgotten genius. But what happened next turned his death into a mystery that still puzzles researchers today. His research papers mysteriously vanished. Shortly after Tesla's death, the FBI and the Office of Alien Property Custodian OAPC moved in and seized all of his documents, notebooks, and personal belongings. Officially, this was done out of national security concerns. Tesla had claimed to have developed a death ray, which he called the Teleforce weapon, and U.S. authorities feared that his work could fall into the wrong hands during World War II. But the real mystery lies in what happened next. After reviewing Tesla's files, the U.S. government declared that there was nothing of significant value in his research. However, some suspect that this was a cover-up. Tesla had been working on wireless energy transmission, advanced propulsion systems, and potentially even anti-gravity technology, concepts that, if true, would have been decades ahead of their time. Could the government have hidden or classified some of his most groundbreaking discoveries? Adding to the suspicion, one of the key figures involved in analyzing Tesla's work was John G. Trump, an electrical engineer and MIT professor, who also happened to be the uncle of future U.S. President Donald Trump. According to official reports, Trump concluded that Tesla's research was primarily speculative and philosophical, but many believe this was a deliberate effort to downplay the significance of what was found. Furthermore, Tesla's death ray has been a subject of intense speculation. Did he truly develop a working prototype? If so, was it confiscated by the U.S. government, or did it fall into the hands of another country? Some theorists suggest that parts of his research may have influenced later secret military projects, such as the Strategic Defense Initiative, Star Wars, in the 1980s. Tesla also spoke about an unlimited energy source, which some believe was connected to zero-point energy or free energy devices. If his work had proven the feasibility of limitless energy, it would have posed a direct threat to the fossil fuel industry. Could powerful corporate and political interests have suppressed his findings to maintain control over global energy markets? To this day, many of Tesla's missing papers have never been publicly released. While some have resurfaced in archives, others remain classified or lost. Was Tesla truly ahead of his time? And if so, was his work deliberately hidden? In the next section, we'll dive deeper into the theories surrounding what Tesla may have really discovered, and whether his research still influences secret projects today. Section 3. Did Tesla die in secrecy? Nikola Tesla's death in 1943 marked the end of a brilliant but tragic life. However, Many believe that his final years, and even his death, are shrouded in mystery and secrecy. Did he die a forgotten man, or was he hiding knowledge too dangerous for the world to know? One of the biggest questions surrounding Tesla's final years is whether he was still working on top-secret inventions. Despite his poverty, he continued to claim that he had developed a revolutionary new technology, including his so-called death ray, capable of destroying targets from vast distances. If such a weapon truly existed, governments around the world would have had a strong interest in acquiring or suppressing it. Shortly before his death, Tesla wrote letters to multiple governments, including the United States, the Soviet Union, and Great Britain, offering his death ray technology. Some believe he may have been negotiating in secret, possibly putting himself in danger. Did someone decide that his knowledge was too risky to be left unchecked? Adding to the mystery, Tesla's health was reportedly stable just days before his death, yet on January 7, 1943, he was suddenly found dead in his hotel room. Officially, the cause was heart failure, but some suspect foul play. There were rumors that his room had been ransacked before authorities arrived, and his nephew later claimed that key documents and notebooks were missing. Even more suspiciously, as discussed in the previous section, the U.S. government immediately seized all of Tesla's papers and research materials. If his inventions were nothing more than speculation, as officials later claimed, why were they treated as a potential national security threat? Some theorists suggest that Tesla's discoveries may have influenced secret government projects, including experiments related to wireless energy, advanced propulsion systems, and even weather manipulation. Some even link his work to the infamous Philadelphia experiment, an alleged 1943 U.S. Navy project that attempted to render a warship invisible. There's also speculation that Tesla's death was staged, allowing him to disappear in secrecy. Could he have been taken into government custody, forced to work in secret, or even relocated under a new identity? While this theory is far-fetched, the lack of transparency surrounding his final years fuels continued speculation. What is clear is that Tesla's legacy did not end with his death. His ideas have influenced countless scientific advancements, yet many of his boldest claims remain unverified, classified, or missing. Was Tesla silenced to protect the interests of powerful industries? Were his final inventions covered up to prevent a technological revolution? Or was he simply a misunderstood genius whose ideas were too radical for his time? As we move to the next chapter, we'll examine another high-profile disappearance, the case of Michael Rockefeller, the heir to one of the world's most powerful families, who vanished in 1961 under bizarre and terrifying circumstances. Chapter 6: The Strange Disappearance of Michael Rockefeller. Section 1: The Heir Who Vanished in the Jungle. In 1961, a young and ambitious explorer named Michael Rockefeller set out on an expedition to one of the most remote regions of the world, the jungles of Papua New Guinea. As the heir to the wealthy and powerful Rockefeller family, he could have lived a life of luxury and privilege, but instead, he was drawn to adventure, anthropology, and the unknown. His fascination with indigenous tribes and their art led him deep into uncharted territory. Then, one day, he vanished without a trace. Michael Rockefeller was the son of Nelson Rockefeller, the future Vice President of the United States. Unlike his father, who was immersed in politics and business, Michael had a deep passion for art and culture. After studying at Harvard University, He joined an anthropological expedition to Dutch New Guinea, modern-day Indonesia, where he became captivated by the Asmat people, a tribe known for their intricate wood carvings and warrior traditions. Determined to collect rare indigenous artifacts, Michael returned to the region for a second expedition in 1961. He wanted to bring back Asmat artwork to showcase in museums, believing it was an important cultural heritage. However, the Asmat were also known for their history of headhunting and cannibalism, practices that, while officially banned, still existed in some remote areas. On November 17, 1961, Michael and a Dutch anthropologist, René Wassing, were traveling in a small wooden boat along the coast when disaster struck. Their boat capsized, leaving them stranded several miles from shore. Wassing stayed with the wreckage, but Michael, believing he could reach land, tied empty gasoline cans to his waist for flotation and swam toward the shore. Those were his last known actions. When rescue teams arrived, they found Wassing alive, but Michael was gone. His disappearance launched one of the largest search operations in modern history, with the Dutch government, the U.S. military, and even the Rockefeller family's private investigators scouring the region. But despite weeks of searching, no body was ever found. So what really happened to Michael Rockefeller? Did he drown? Did he make it to shore, only to be met with an even more terrifying fate? In the next section, we'll explore the most chilling theories, including the possibility that he was killed, or even eaten, by the Asmat warriors. Section 2. His final expedition. Michael Rockefeller's disappearance wasn't just the result of an unfortunate accident. It was the climax of a dangerous and ambitious journey into one of the most remote and mysterious regions on Earth. His expedition to Dutch New Guinea in 1961 was driven by a deep passion for anthropology and a desire to document the Asmat people, a tribe known for their elaborate wood carvings, warrior culture, and history of headhunting. At the time, Dutch New Guinea was still a colonial territory, and tensions between indigenous tribes and the Dutch authorities were high. The Asmat people had long practiced headhunting and ritual cannibalism, but Dutch officials had outlawed these traditions, sometimes violently suppressing the local tribes. This created a fragile and dangerous environment, one that Rockefeller may not have fully understood when he embarked on his journey. Michael's expedition wasn't just about studying the Asmat, though was also on a mission to collect their art. He believed their intricate wood carvings were some of the greatest artistic achievements of indigenous cultures, and wanted to bring them back to be displayed in Western museums. However, his approach to acquiring these artifacts was controversial. Some reports suggest that he traded metal tools and goods for sacred carvings, something that may have upset local traditions. Others believe he unknowingly entered areas where tribal conflicts were still active, putting himself in extreme danger. On November 17, 1961, Michael and Dutch anthropologist René Wassing were traveling along the coast in a small wooden boat when it capsized in rough waters. They were about 3 miles 5 kilometers from shore, and as they clung to the wreckage, they faced a desperate choice: wait and hope for rescue, or try to swim to land. After several hours, Michael made a bold decision. Believing he could reach the shore, he tied 2 empty gasoline cans to his waist for buoyancy and began swimming toward land. Wassing, fearing the strong currents, stayed behind. This was the last time anyone saw Michael Rockefeller alive. Wassing was rescued the next day by a Dutch search party, but Rockefeller was nowhere to be found. His disappearance triggered an enormous search operation involving helicopters, boats, and ground teams. The Rockefeller family spared no expense in the investigation, but despite weeks of searching, there was no sign of Michael's body. Did he drown, overcome by exhaustion and strong currents? Or did he reach the shore, only to meet a far darker fate? In the next section, we'll examine the most chilling theories about what may have happened to Michael Rockefeller, including the possibility that he was killed, or even eaten, by Asmat warriors seeking revenge against the Dutch. Section 3. Did he join a tribe or was he killed? Michael Rockefeller's disappearance has led to decades of speculation. While some believe he simply drowned, others suggest a far more chilling fate, that he was killed by the Asmat people, possibly as an act of ritual revenge. But an even stranger theory exists. What if Michael survived and chose to stay among the tribe? The official explanation given at the time was that Michael drowned before reaching shore. Strong currents and exhaustion could have easily overpowered him. However, there's one major problem with this theory: his body was never found. In cases of drowning, bodies usually resurface or wash ashore, yet not a single trace of him was ever discovered. This has led many to believe he did make it to land. But what happened next is the true mystery. Theory 1: he was killed in an act of revenge. One of the most widely accepted theories is that Michael was captured and killed by the Asmat people. Why would they have done this? The answer lies in the tensions between the Asmat and the Dutch colonial authorities. In 1958, just a few years before Rockefeller's expedition, Dutch officials had executed several Asmat warriors in a violent crackdown. These men were considered leaders and respected members of their community. In Asmat tradition, revenge killings were part of a ritual cycle. A death had to be avenged to restore balance. Some researchers believe that when Michael arrived, the Asmat saw him as an opportunity to settle the score. Decades later, journalist Carl Hoffman investigated the case and interviewed elderly Asmat villagers. In his book Savage Harvest 2014, he claimed that several Asmat people admitted that their ancestors had killed and eaten Michael Rockefeller. According to their accounts, he was captured, executed with a spear, and then ritually consumed in accordance with tribal customs. However, since no physical evidence exists, this theory remains unproven. Theory 2: he chose to stay and live among the Asmat. A less gruesome but equally fascinating theory suggests that Michael was not killed, but instead integrated into the tribe. Some explorers and missionaries have claimed to have seen a tall, white-skinned man living among the Asmat years after Rockefeller's disappearance. Could he have decided to abandon his former life and embrace the indigenous way of living? While intriguing, this theory has never been confirmed. If Michael had willingly joined the Asmat, why didn't he attempt to contact his family? Some suggest that if he did survive and assimilate, he might have been unable or unwilling to leave. Final thoughts: the truth about Michael Rockefeller's fate may never be known. Did he drown, become the victim of a revenge killing, or choose a life in the jungle? His disappearance remains one of the most haunting, unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. In the final chapter, we'll analyze the common patterns in these genius disappearances and explore what they reveal about history's most enigmatic vanishing acts. Chapter 7. Conclusion: the unsolved fate of genius minds. Section 1. Why do geniuses disappear? Throughout history, some of the world's most brilliant minds have vanished under mysterious circumstances, from writers and inventors to mathematicians and explorers. The cases we've explored in this video reveal a puzzling trend. Those who challenge the limits of knowledge or explore the unknown often seem to disappear without a trace. But why? One possible explanation is that some geniuses simply walk away from society. Grigori Perelman, for example, rejected fame and fortune, choosing a life of isolation rather than remaining in the academic spotlight. Could other brilliant minds have done the same, leaving behind their identities to live in obscurity? Ambrose Bierce, who openly expressed his cynicism toward the world, might have intentionally vanished in Mexico to escape society. Another theory is that some disappearances are the result of foul play. Nikola Tesla's missing documents, Louis Le Prince's vanishing, and even the possibility that Michael Rockefeller was killed, suggest that powerful forces might have played a role. Could their knowledge have been too dangerous, leading them to be silenced? Then, there's the possibility that the pursuit of knowledge itself puts these individuals in risky situations. Explorers like Rockefeller ventured into remote regions, where they faced dangers they may not have fully understood. Scientists and inventors, on the other hand, often deal with groundbreaking discoveries that could disrupt entire industries. Tesla's work on wireless energy, for example, threatened the financial interests of major corporations. Could some of these individuals have been targeted because of what they knew? Finally, some propose more speculative theories, such as secret recruitment by governments or even contact with unknown forces. Could some of these missing geniuses have been pulled into classified projects, working in secrecy? Or is it possible that their discoveries led them to a reality beyond our understanding? While each case is unique, they all share a common thread: brilliant minds who seem to vanish, just as they were on the brink of something extraordinary. In the next section, we'll examine which of these mysteries remain unsolved, and whether we are any closer to uncovering the truth. Section 2. Which mystery is the most puzzling? Each of the cases we've explored is unique, yet they all share a sense of unanswered questions and unresolved fates. Some of these disappearances seem to have logical explanations, while others continue to defy reason. But which one is truly the most puzzling? Louis Le Prince, the forgotten father of cinema, vanished without a trace before he could demonstrate his invention. His disappearance was so complete that no evidence of foul play, suicide, or an accident was ever found. The fact that his biggest rival, Thomas Edison, later took credit for motion pictures only adds to the suspicion. Could Le Prince have been eliminated to erase his contributions from history? Ambrose Bierce deliberately walked into the chaos of the Mexican Revolution, leaving behind cryptic letters. Did he die in battle, or did he, like his characters in his stories, create his own mysterious ending? The absence of any solid records makes his fate one of literature's great unsolved riddles. Nikola Tesla's missing documents are another enduring mystery. While the U.S. government claims they found nothing valuable, rumors persist that his research contained groundbreaking discoveries, perhaps even ideas that were too powerful for the world to know. If that were true, where did those ideas go? Michael Rockefeller's case is disturbing because of the conflicting possibilities. Did he drown in the open ocean, or did he make it to shore, only to be killed in an act of tribal revenge? The accounts from Asmat villagers decades later suggest the latter, yet no definitive evidence has ever surfaced. And then there's Grigori Perelman, the one case where we know the person is still alive, yet his complete withdrawal from society raises more questions than answers. Why would someone who achieved one of the greatest mathematical breakthroughs in history abandon everything? Was he simply rejecting a flawed system? Or is there something deeper at play? Each of these mysteries continues to fascinate historians, researchers, and conspiracy theorists. Some of them may never be solved, but as new evidence and theories emerge, we inch closer to understanding the fates of these brilliant minds. In the final section, we'll reflect on the nature of genius and mystery, and why some of history's greatest figures seem destined to disappear. Section 3. Final Thoughts and Theories. Why do some of history's greatest minds vanish without a trace? As we've explored in this video, many of these disappearances occur under unusual and suspicious circumstances. Were they victims of foul play? Did they choose to disappear? Or did they uncover something too dangerous for the world to know? One of the most consistent patterns in these cases is that many of these individuals disappeared at a critical moment in their careers. Louis Le Prince was about to reveal his motion picture invention when he vanished. Nikola Tesla was working on revolutionary energy transmission when his documents were confiscated. Michael Rockefeller had reached one of the most remote cultures in the world when he was never seen again. Could their discoveries have been too disruptive to existing power structures? Were they silenced or erased from history? Then there are those who seem to have deliberately walked away from society. Grigori Perelman solved one of the greatest mathematical problems in history, only to reject all rewards and retreat into obscurity. Ambrose Bierce, known for his dark and cynical writings, willingly entered the chaos of the Mexican Revolution, as if embracing his own mysterious end. Did they feel the burden of genius too deeply, and choose to disappear on their own terms? The theory of suppression and cover-ups is another unsettling possibility. Tesla's missing documents, the unexplained circumstances of Le Prince's disappearance, and the conflicting reports about Rockefeller's fate all suggest that some of these disappearances were not accidents. Governments, corporations, and even secret organizations may have had a vested interest in ensuring that certain knowledge never became public. And then there are the more extreme theories: secret recruitment by intelligence agencies, hidden scientific breakthroughs, or even encounters with something beyond human understanding. While these ideas remain speculative, they reflect how deeply these mysteries capture our imagination. What makes these cases so compelling is that they may never be fully solved. Time erases evidence, and with each passing year, the truth slips further into the unknown. But perhaps that is what makes these stories so powerful: the possibility that somewhere, buried beneath history's shadows, the answers still exist. Maybe genius and mystery are forever intertwined. And maybe some of history's greatest minds have simply found a way to exist beyond the limits of what we can comprehend. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.